Hey guys, welcome back to NYC Uncensored. So today I'm here with Carrie. Hi Carrie, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That's great. So today we're going to be talking about something more serious, which is domestic violence. And so before we get into the podcast, I think it is important to share some important statistics about young people experiencing domestic violence. So the first statistic is 1 in 6 women, also known as 17% or 1.6 million, experience some sort of physical or sexual violence by the age of 15. And 1 in 4 women, or 23%, or 2.2 million, experience some sort of emotional abuse by the age of 15, which is so sad to think about.
Yeah, it's a so bad situation.
It's horrible, and I think it's very scary to see the statistics because they keep going higher and higher.
Yeah,
And
especially the recent years.
100%. And there's also another statistics from Australian Bureau of Statistics saying 3 in 10, so 33% or 7,600 people end up in hospitals because of sexual violence or physical violence, which is devastating.
Yeah.
And, as I said, it keeps increasing. So today we're going to be unpacking this topic, and there's a lot to uncover. So the first thing we're going to unpack is the types of violence. So I will explain to you guys, there's a wheel that explains the types of violence, and we're going to be discussing it in this first section of the podcast. So the first one is using correction and threats. So
when the people threatening at you, apparently they are using power and try to control you. That's one type of the family violence.
So that's just one type. So then there's also using intimidation. So I guess, for example, whether it's physical or body language, would you say that's more like intimidation? There's also using emotional abuse. So
that's very common. Use emotional abuse is, for example...
So, for example, I guess maybe putting him or her down, emotionally, saying your feelings aren't valid. No, you can't feel like that because you're a woman or because you're young or things like that.
Or they give you a comment or they judgment. Yeah, that's kind of using emotional abuse.
Exactly. Or, for example, using isolation, so not letting their partner leave at certain times.
Or you can't go out with your friend. I'm not allowed you to go out with this girl. You say that's kind of not limited you outside or you the behavior you can do.
Exactly. Yeah. And then there's another one which is minimizing and denying and blaming. So for example, for showing that, oh, it's your fault that we're in this situation. Oh, it's your fault. It's because you didn't do this or you didn't do that. Or
it's also called gaslighting.
100%.
It's kind of you start to confuse or you're not sure what is true and what is not true because your partner or someone close to you is lying to you all the time and make you start to doubt yourself.
100%. And then there's using children, saying, well, if you're teaching your daughter that or your son that, then what makes you a good mother, or what makes you knowing that you're bringing them up right and questioning your actions and things like that.
And also they are threatening you, saying if you walk out this door and you're never gonna see your daughter again.
Exactly.
Or it's also include the pets, if they are abuse the pets or harming the pets, it's also be considered as a threat to you.
Yeah, that could be me instead of the pet, which is horrible. And then there's also using economic abuse. Oh, I make the money. I'm in control of it.
Yeah, so you can't use it. If you're gonna use my money, you're gonna begging me.
Yeah, and the last one on the wheel is using male privilege. So this kind of goes into our next subheading, which is gender stereotypes.
Yeah.
I make the money in the household. I work. I provide food for the table. I should be in charge of like the gender roles and what you do. So like this, like basically the males dominating the women or what they should be doing in the household. So for example, maybe like cleaning or
Yeah.
cooking, and they don't do anything like that.
Yeah, they are thinking that's a woman's job for cleaning and providing the food, and they not helping. Even they have time, they don't want to help. That's your job. You should do it better. And if you didn't cook good meal, he will start to angry and blame you and saying you're not good wife, you're not good girlfriend because you can't cook.
100%.
That's definitely family violence.
100%. So there's so many different types of violence, and I know in high school all I learned about was sexual and like more financial, emotional violence, but nothing about everything else. And it's really hard to pinpoint what is classified as violence and what is not classified as violence, because it's not just that physical.
Physical obviously is a violence. It's black and white. If someone using physical abuse to you, you will know that straight away. But there's other violence is not very clear to see. Like sometimes he's saying something and blame you. You lose the confidence, and that's a flag. That's a red flag. We're saying, oh, you will start to thinking, is that I'm in the domestic violence experience? Is he putting something on me?
No, exactly. It's really hard because like it's not all black and white. There are some gray areas that, you know, that's why we're making this podcast, to like inform you guys about what violence is and what it means. And going into that, it's about also mentioning like the red flags and signs. So like, I guess for me, some of the signs would be like if he's controlling, manipulative.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be these big gestures, but those small things may lead to domestic violence.
There is some red flags, such as when you're in a relationship and you always feel unhappy, you're always thinking, do I do right or do I do wrong thing? Am I right? Am I wrong? I'm not sure. You start losing your confidence, or you start feels confused. That probably a sign showing you are in the abusive relationship. So you start you need to kind of like recognize the flag and really think about what's happening. And then it may not be that bad, but it's a sign to say.
100%. And I think as well, like, are you scared in the relationship? Do you have that gut-wrenching feeling that like, I'm not at ease, I'm not at peace, I'm uncomfortable, I don't like what he's doing, I don't like how I feel?
Yeah.
Because of the type of the relationship you may have with that person, it might change who you are as a person, because you have like a protective barrier up and a risk barrier and like that security base. So like if your guard's always up, it might challenge your values or morals because you're just trying to keep yourself safe and secure.
That's right.
I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's the thing.
It's like really hard to like kind of go through that and know, am I acting because of the relationship or am I acting because it's domestic? Like understanding why your body's doing what it's doing, because it naturally has the fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
And it knows when it's in danger. Whether it's right or not might not be always the case, but using those intuitions is so important.
That's right.
Especially when it comes to like domestic violence and things like that. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think that's very important. Yes. And also I think in the general rules, like when you're in a relationship and you feels yourself is getting better, that means it's a healthy relationship. And if you are in a relationship and you feels like you're not like yourself as before, like you feel you confused and you changed, that must be something wrong.
100%. And I guess like the question now and the thing that I want you guys to think about, whoever's listening to it, is what do you do?
Mm.
So there are some things and resources that you can use. So for example, hotline, which is 1-800-RESPECT. There's websites to that, which will be linked down below.
Yeah. If you ever a doubt, maybe you are in the relationship or someone you know are in the domestic violence or experiencing some bad relationship, probably can going to search this kind of website or give the hotline a call and talk to them and say you can get some solution from them.
Yeah.
Or also you can talk to some professional like counselors or local GP and searching for some help.
100%. So I guess our point is there is help out there. You're not alone, and it's important to reach out and to speak the truth, because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the time, not just women, but like mainly women get taught to like shut down their feelings because of their partners and things like that. But we're saying to you, your feelings are valid.
Yeah.
You're allowed to reach out. You're allowed to communicate, and it's a safe space to do that when you do it in the right way.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Wow, this was a very heavy topic. It's
Yeah.
really hard to cover because there's so many different factors of domestic violence and what it may look like. And so I really encourage you guys, if you have any questions about domestic violence or what to do, or maybe strategies to cope, or how can you help others or whatnot, please ask them anonymously. As you know, everything is confidential and private, and it's a safe space. Anything else to add, Carrie?
No, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. As I said, guys, thanks for listening. And if you need help, we're here and you know where we're at. So thank you so much for listening. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.